For those of you seeking business advice or ways to launch your dreams into reality through entrepreneurship, this segment is a must listen. I'm pleased to welcome Kathy Deacon, Vice President of Business and Resource Development at the Advancement Foundation, on the podcast today, as she shares more about the incredible resources you might be missing out on. Hi, Kathy. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Morning. Thanks so much for having me.
I appreciate your time. We have a great feature in our November-December issue about the Gauntlet and the Advancement Foundation, what that means. And so I'm really excited to dig in and learn not just about the businesses that have benefited from this, but obviously those who are interested in learning more about what to do next year and how to make those business dreams a reality.
I'm excited to have the opportunity to share that with you.
Thank you so much. So first, let's give listeners an overview of the Advancement Foundation. Not just about that organization, but the Gauntlet. What inspired the creation of this? What does the organization do? We'll start there.
Yeah. So the Advancement Foundation was founded as a 501c3 in 2007 by Annette Patterson, who's our amazing leader and president.
Fearless leader.
Fearless leader. We have a saying, we always say yes to everything, and Annette models that for sure.
I like that motto. That's good.
Yeah, right? So she was in development at the university level for a long, long time. And, she says she was going through a midlife crisis, kind of wanted to take the development work that she was doing and see how she could use that kind of work and that kind of model to actually impact economic development.
So she really took her own sort of dream to help others and built it into something.
She sure did. And so it started out, kind of small. She was doing some work at the community level. And then in 2015, one of the programs that emerged from that was the Gauntlet program. And the Gauntlet, now we're going into our 10th year. 2024 will be the 10th year anniversary. And it's now the largest business program and competition in Virginia. And so we're really excited about that. And that program was really designed to meet the not available resources that are provided to businesses, small businesses, entrepreneurs at the small and rural community level. So as we know, the Northern Virginias, they are provided some of the resources. And so Annette saw this as a way to get the communities really engaged, to kind of step up and put some investment into small business development, particularly at that point at the Main Street level. And, we've just continued to grow since then. So we like to say we've got three legs to a stool. So one of them is programming, which the Gauntlet is kind of our biggest program, but we also offer commercialization services to folks who might be a little bit further along the way. Of course, resources is the second leg of the stool, making sure that not only financial resources, but kind of professional expertise is made available. And we, part of the Gauntlet program, we've created a network of over 300 business experts and professionals who work with us every year, both in the Gauntlet and beyond, to help support the entrepreneurs who come through the program and who connect with us in other ways.
Right. Because you've mentioned the finances, of course, but education, the constant education, not just of your own, of the chosen industry you've decided to open a business in, but running a business itself is not an easy task.
It is not an easy task. And what we know is when you plug in the resources who have the experience of having been there and done that, it shortens the learning curve by a tremendous amount. So we're really excited about the mentor network, and that is just growing exponentially every year. And then the third leg of the stool is placemaking, and we're really excited to know that we have created with the City of Buena Vista what's now the Virginia Innovation Accelerator. It's 30,000 square foot.
Wow.
It was an abandoned warehouse, and we have turned that into a business accelerator. So we've got 8 tenants that are in there now, kind of at various levels of business development, and really looking to scale their businesses. So it's also a co-working space. So we've got co-working offices. We've actually just created a podcast room.
Good. We need more podcasts about local regional
at the
activities.
Innovation Accelerator, and just really excited to be able to partner again with the City of Buena Vista to create a space for entrepreneurs to go to take their businesses to the next level.
Especially because that's not in a high city level, right? You're not I don't want to say rural, but you don't necessarily have the immediate resources the way you would in Roanoke City, for example.
Absolutely. And I think that is one of the things that we really focus on is how do we, and what we're focused on for the future is we have created a model. It's beginning to work really well. We're getting ready to move into construction phase on that. So we'll have a commercial kitchen space. We're going to do kind of connection to outdoor recreation. So we'll have that there.
In this area, that makes
absolutely. Sense. Yeah. Cafe, a brewery space, and then again, plenty of spaces for entrepreneurs to work and grow there.
Sounds pretty inspiring. I want to go hang out and have a cup of coffee and watch people work.
Please come and visit us. We'd be delighted to give you a tour out there. And then what we know is it's a model that works, again.
10 years.
We've been there, done that. And we are now working in other communities, particularly smaller rural communities, to identify spaces in their own community that could be used for co-working, accelerator, small-scale manufacturing. So we're excited about expanding that model as well.
Incredibly exciting, because think of the businesses that would not come to fruition without the resources and networking that you're able to provide for smaller communities.
It's really true.
Really important. So for aspiring entrepreneurs looking for opportunities to sort of kickstart their businesses, let's talk about the Gauntlet, because this is a pretty exciting endeavor. It's almost like Shark Tank, right? It's sort of the inspiration behind it.
Yes.
And so for local entrepreneurs and startups, let's talk about what that is. What does that process look like? Because it's not for the faint of heart. I know that.
It is not for the faint of heart.
You got to be ready to go.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so, first of all, it is open to entrepreneurs at any stage. So whether they've got an idea, they've already got an established business that they're looking to accelerate a little bit, and all kinds of businesses. So the Gauntlet Main Street businesses is kind of how we started, but we're open to high growth businesses, tech companies, and gig workers. We know that is, we've got tons of folks who are doing really cool things out of their garages.
Yeah, in our first segment with Michael Shelton, our financial writer, he talks specifically about side giggers turning these things into full-time jobs or working more than that, and so how to help those financials and things to expect.
Absolutely.
So it's very I don't know, it's sort of inspiring to see so many people are now accepting this as a modern form of revenue and business generation.
Absolutely. Well, and I'll use this opportunity to plug one of our entrepreneurs. So we had an entrepreneur from Covington who was working on some wireless power stuff out of his garage. Had no idea. I think he had a couple of small contracts, and he was encouraged by the economic development folks in the city of Covington to go through the Gauntlet. He went through the Gauntlet. In 2019, he now has a company valued at over $10 million.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. If you didn't see the YouTube video there, my jaw just dropped right on the table. Oh my gosh. Well, that's a success story, I think.
Right. It's a real success story. And it's also indicative of, folks, sometimes we open the opportunity for folks to dream bigger than where they are.
Can you imagine the dream that you start out with is millions of dollars bigger than you maybe ever anticipated?
Absolutely.
So exciting.
Yeah. So like you said, not for the faint of heart.
Right.
It is a 10-week class.
Okay. 10 weeks. Good to know.
The pandemic did a lot of things.
Sure.
One of the things where we were actually trying to do have the Gauntlet program in communities all across Virginia in person, which was a challenge. In March 13th of 2020, when the world shut down.
Right, back in the day. Oh, my gosh.
Back in the day, right? Can you believe?
Yeah, it's already 4 years almost.
Yeah.
Anyway.
When the world shut down, Annette and her team at that time literally took the whole Gauntlet program over a weekend online.
Wow.
And so we use a really cool platform, but it's really opened up this ability to connect entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
From all across the region. It's opened up an opportunity to also connect business leaders and mentors from all across the region, and plug in mentors who might not So you got an entrepreneur in
Yeah.
Roanoke City, but there's a mentor who's exactly aligned with what they're doing and what they want to do, who's maybe located in Southwest Virginia. We actually have an opportunity to plug those people in that
Right.
way.
That's a huge, a pro to the whole situation.
It really
that
is.
Virtual sort of was able to connect people in a way that you might not have had otherwise. That's great.
Absolutely. And I think the cool thing is, so 10-week classes every Tuesday night from 6 until 7:30. We typically run until 8 o'clock because we get into
Yeah, as you
great
do.
conversations. We've got volunteer faculty that are really experts in their fields who come in and teach things like entrepreneurial mindset, finances, that's budgeting
Key,
and
yeah.
financing, marketing and sales, how to actually put a business plan together that is going to be well received, even if, by a bank.
I don't even have a business, and I want to sit through this course just
Right,
to
please.
learn how to do it.
I'll give you a seat. You got a seat.
That's amazing.
Absolutely.
What a wonderful way to learn even more about what you're doing.
Absolutely.
That's really incredible.
Well, and the thing is, so we have the 10 weeks of classes, and then that's on Tuesday nights. On Thursday nights, we do a deeper dive supplemental workshop, also taught by really incredibly talented people, just to help people along the way. And then, of course, we've got the mentor network. So by the second or third week, we plug people one-on-one, and we go through a whole process about that, of getting people plugged in individually to a mentor that meets some of the needs that they have, and then they also work together for the rest of the program.
That's so cool. Mentorship is so important.
It's incredibly important.
And in our small community, I talk about the Roanoke metropolitan region as far as our listenership and our readership, but to connect people all over the state in terms of this.
Absolutely.
That's so important to have somebody who kind of can help walk you through the questions.
Absolutely.
Just cheerlead you on.
Yeah. Well, and I think particularly with folks who have a business idea. They've never really thought about putting a business plan together, don't know all the components that need to go into doing that. It's a really great opportunity to learn from people who've already been there and done that.
Well, like we said, think about the businesses that are amazing and should come to fruition, but they might not because they don't know how to put together a budget. That's something that is not related. It is related, but you don't necessarily need to know that when you have someone who can help you do that part.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I'll tell you, one of the things that helps to make us really successful is that we've created partnerships with some really amazing organizations who are working on their own to build the entrepreneurial ecosystem and support entrepreneurs. So one of our greatest partners, happens to be SBDC in all of the areas that we serve. And we could not do what we do without those folks. So it's all about partnership and joining hands. And I don't know if Annette likes to tell this story, the fable of Stone Soup, where, you've got a village, some army comes in, everybody, they're starving, hardly anyone has anything. And then at the end of the story, everybody's bringing whatever they have to the table, putting it in the pot. And at the end of the day, you've got a soup that feeds everyone.
Yeah, it's pretty key, right?
Yeah, it's really
that's so
key.
Cool. So let's talk about some of the successes that we're hearing, especially from winners. We mentioned several winners in our November, December issue, past winners, of course.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the 2023 winner for a minute. Who was that?
The winner of 2023 was the Wellness Bar in Uptown Martinsville. So they have an IV infusion center, so it's vitamin infusions. They are actually expanding from Martinsville into Smith Mountain Lake with the winnings.
So you've already helped them expand their business.
We have
that's pretty
helped
exciting.
them expand their business.
Yeah, that's really cool. We also have, other participants included Wheels on Wheels, Rudy Girl Media, Bite Me Confections, and Bite Me Confections. So when they won $3,000.
They did.
As well as $7,000 of in-kind prizes.
Yes.
I'm curious about what in-kind prizes means for when you're participating.
Yeah. So one of the other cool, really great partnerships that we have is we do partner with media companies, accountants, marketing and business development folks, some other consultants who are doing perhaps coaching, attorneys, and they plug in and say, hey, I'm going to offer 3 hours worth of consulting work for free, or I'm going to help build a website, or we'll help design a logo. And we try really carefully, so we're always recruiting folks who are wanting to get involved and offer in-kind services to the entrepreneurs. And one of the really amazing things that happens because of this is we get to ask the entrepreneurs, what is it that you really need to take your business to the next level? And if they say marketing, then we've got some folks lined up who could actually offer them some services.
Great.
So,
are there does it lean any one way? I know that we have businesses of all levels, but is marketing like the number one request that you might normally get?
It's typically
pretty high.
a pretty high request.
Yeah.
And then I think the other big request is some help with figuring out the accounting piece
Sure.
of things.
I mean, English major here. I was telling Michael, like, we were joking because he's a math guy who doesn't like words, and I'm a word girl who doesn't like math. So, like, between the two of us, we'll figure it out. But that's really tough. Like, there are so
really
many
tough
nuances and pieces of that sound really scary to me.
Yeah. Well, and I think particularly when folks are first coming into the program, if they've not had any exposure to that, like even trying to figure out how do you project out what you don't know.
Right. You got to pay people.
Exactly.
Right.
And how do you project out both what your income could look like in a year and what your expenses are going to look like?
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, and so the Gauntlet itself, we talked about Shark Tank, business competition sort of style. I'm curious about the key components, like how participants get involved. And of course, we'll list some resources and website links and things at the end of this on our website. But however, I'm level 1. I don't know what to do. I just know I have this great idea and I need to do it. What do the next 10 weeks look like for me?
Yeah. So the first thing you need to do is sign up.
Right.
Yeah. So that's all happens, www.theadvancementfoundation.com. We've got a Gauntlet page there that has FAQs. It's got all of the information, some really great videos from past entrepreneurs who've been through the program. Some of our mentors have some videos. And so it's a really great first place to find out kind of what the program is about, what it might look like. We've got our class schedule, so you'll see every week what the class is going to entail. We'll be posting.
Yeah, you're really laying everything out for them. That's
we
great.
lay everything out, and then it's just a matter of filling out the application. And it's a pretty in-depth application because we really want to understand, even before the program starts, like where people are, and so that we can be able to meet them.
Right. Do you typically have the same number? Is it like always 10 people who are going through the class, or is it sort of wide open to...
It's wide open, right. and we like to consider the Gauntlet the wide end of the funnel. So we typically now are averaging about 175 people who go through the program at a time.
That's amazing.
It is really amazing.
That's
and again,
fantastic.
I think it's the joy,
Absolutely.
or one of the silver linings of the pandemic, because now we can serve more people in more localities. So about 175 folks will go through the program from all over Virginia.
That's great.
Fill out the application. We're going to ask you 1,000,000 questions so
At least you're upfront about it.
so that we can understand, again, where you are. And then once that happens, we stay in constant contact. So first class starts January the 30th. But between now and then, we've got some workshops that we're doing on entrepreneurial mindset just to help get folks ready if they're interested in participating.
That's great. So you've been running this for how many years now? You said 10. Celebrated 10 years recently. And so how has the program evolved? I mean, it's 175 people. You probably started out with maybe not that many, and now you've just kind of exploded into this wonderful resource.
Yes.
How do you see from the beginning to now what's really changed?
So initially, there were 15 entrepreneurs
in
2015 who went through the program.
Kathy, that's
15
so
entrepreneurs.
Amazing.
Everything was done in person. Pulling volunteers from everywhere. We didn't have a 300-person mentor network, but we were picking up the phone and calling and saying, okay, we've got an entrepreneur in the program who needs this. Yeah. And now we've evolved. So as the years have gone by, and both the resources that we have tapped into and the entrepreneurs who know about what we're doing and can also help spread the word, it's just helped us to grow. And I think one of the really exciting things that happened this year, we had kind of primarily still been working, the Roanoke, Buena Vista, Bedford, Martinsville, Franklin County, kind of still that's where we were concentrated, Roanoke County. But this past year, we had far Southwest Virginia, so Wise County, Dickinson County, reach out to us and say, hey, we're kind of interested in figuring out how we might be able to bring the Gauntlet to our community. That opened up a whole other,
I bet.
really just like a whole new territory. And because everything is online. Now, I will say we do a lot of in-person networking events during the year because that's really important too. It's important for folks to make that face-to-face connection.
Don't feel siloed behind your QuickBooks screen.
Absolutely, absolutely. But just the opportunity for more people to learn, more people to have access to the resources that we offer through the programming. It's just been really incredible. And now we kind of see the sky as the limit.
Really? I mean, you could go anywhere with this. And I think if I remember correctly, towards the end of the article, we're talking about, you had talked about there's so many people participating now that you kind of have to like section things out into like categories and industries and things because it's not a blanket overview of how to run a business anymore.
Right.
It's how to run specific businesses.
Right.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting too.
And so what we've done, and this year really we're kind of plowing into that, is while we will have the main Gauntlet program that kind of walks you through the basics, we're going to be having some supplemental workshops and sessions for particularly Main Street businesses and then high growth businesses that might need, some more help with commercialization and R&D conversation and things like that. And then, of course, we mentioned earlier the gig workers, right? Which, it's another whole level of expertise that needs to be brought to the table.
Yeah, but that evolution is pretty exciting too.
It
because
is.
Now you're cultivating even more specificity. You have mentors who are really focused on what they're doing.
Yeah.
And this way, everyone who's participating is sure to get something out of it because it's not just a 101 thing. You're learning every little specific piece you need to know.
Absolutely. And I'll also say, we have a number of nonprofits that come through the program every year, and that is its own
That's really
animal,
inspiring
for
too.
sure. So, and the things that are being created, nonprofits that are being created in the communities that are actually then serving the whole community population or a section of it is pretty incredible.
That's a wonderful
watch.
ripple effect.
It is.
Awesome. So, okay, final question for you as far as that. So beyond the competition aspect, because I'm sure it gets a little feisty up in there, how does the Gauntlet contribute to the economic and entrepreneurial success of Roanoke, which we've kind of touched on, but, engaging with its mission is really important, that ripple effect that we just mentioned.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things that we know, we've got some really amazing economic development leaders in all of the communities that we serve. And they're typically working with fairly small teams. So we feel like we are, just a team member additive to what they're already doing, and then really focusing in on helping to identify what assets that community has that can support entrepreneurs and development of their entrepreneurial ecosystem so that growth keeps continuing. And what we know, small businesses across the country, not just in Virginia, are what fuels economic development. And so, we're just really focused on that. And again, I think the really important thing is providing access to resources, which these smaller and rural communities, they just don't have it.
Right. Well, that's so key. It's so important what you're doing. Thank you for what you're doing, not for the community as a whole, but our state, our entire state. Oh my
we're
gosh.
excited.
You're going to take over the East Coast soon enough, I think. Pretty sure. Gosh, thank you so much again for being on For Print to Cup podcast and sharing more about the Advancement Foundation.
What a
wonderful program. And again, we're going to list some resources and website links and things on our website. Of course, you can learn more over there at theroanoker.com and theadvancementfoundation.org. And figure out all these amazing opportunities that you have as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
How wonderful.
And if anybody else just wants to reach out to us directly before going to the website, they can always just contact us via Gauntlet at theadvancementfoundation.org.
Perfect. And that also applies for people who want to be mentors as well, I'm sure, because you're probably always looking for people willing to dedicate their time and resources.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you so much again
Liz,
for being on For Print
Thank
Podcast.
you for the opportunity.
Thank you. That was Kathy Deacon, Vice President of Business and Resource Development at the Advancement Foundation, here on From Print to Podcast today, sharing more incredible resources for our local entrepreneurs and the incredible program and work they're doing for the Roanoke region as a whole. You can learn more about the Gauntlet and several of its hardworking winners and much more in our latest issue on newsstands now or at theroanoker.com.